This is Patrick Rollins with YoChicago, and I'm here with Rich Kosmacher. He's a business development manager with iGo Car Sharing. And we spoke with Rich a little earlier about one of the new cars at Lakeshore East. Wanted to talk now with you, Rich, just about your organization's kind of, I guess, depth of field with regard to some neighborhoods around Chicago. A lot of our readers are looking to, find new homes in neighborhoods around Chicago. And the presence of an iGo car is, for a lot of people is going to be kind of a perk. So
Yes.
What can you tell us about the neighborhoods around Chicago and where you guys do your business?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that we right now we have cars as far south as South Shore. We go as far north in the city as Rogers Park, and then we actually go into Evanston. So Evanston is really as far north as we go right now. And to the west, in the city, our most western neighborhood is Logan Square. And just going outside city limits to the west, we have cars in Oak Park. What I find really interesting is the enormous amount of development of all kinds that I see in all of these neighborhoods that I just mentioned, and all the neighborhoods in between. We are in 30 different neighborhoods. But what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of green development. By the way, we're actually being contacted all the time now by green developers, from green developers the scale of Magellan down to the small developers building 3 flats in a neighborhood like South Shore or Rogers Park. And they all want iGo cars in their buildings. They really see having an iGo car as an amenity to their building. And not only do the developers want iGo cars, but the aldermen in these different communities. Joe Moore in Rogers Park, Manny Flores in Logan Square, Gene Schulter in Lincoln Square. We have really good relationships with the aldermen in all these different neighborhoods. And the aldermen want to be able to say, we've got the most iGo cars in our neighborhood. So I think in terms of neighborhoods that are really on the move, South Shore is a neighborhood that is very much on the move. Lots of interesting development going on. And again, all the way on the other end of the spectrum to the north, Rogers Park, it has this beautiful older housing stock, and a lot of renovation and rehabbing is going on. They're putting in some new construction at Rogers Park, but it's got a really nice blend. Of course, our office is in Wicker Park, Bucktown, and everybody knows that Wicker Park, Bucktown is sort of on the cutting edge, I think, in a lot of ways of new development in Chicago, kind of a good mix of rehabbing old buildings and putting in interesting new buildings, not cookie-cutter new buildings.
Sure. And you guys are a nonprofit, and you get some city funds to operate.
We do.
Talk a little bit about how you've kind of made inroads into some less gentrified neighborhoods.
Yes. I was mentioning earlier, we have cars in Pilsen. Now, I mean, look, there are very few neighborhoods in the city of Chicago anymore where there isn't gentrification going on in some part of the neighborhoods, and clearly Pilsen is a neighborhood where it's changing. But we are very proud of the fact that in all neighborhoods that we're in, the ones that are more gentrified and the ones that are less, we're serving people at all income levels in these neighborhoods. And in a neighborhood like Pilsen, there are a lot of artists now that maybe they used to live in Wicker Park, and now they can't afford Wicker Park anymore, and they're living in a neighborhood like Pilsen, and they could be a very talented artist, not making a lot of money, and they're using iGo cars to get their art materials, and maybe to take art to some sort of an art opening that they're having. So even a neighborhood like Pilsen, which is being gentrified, there's still plenty of people that are there because for them it's an affordable neighborhood, and they find having an iGo car to be a real huge convenience.
Are there any neighborhoods we can look for in the future, kind of target areas you guys are moving forward in?
Yeah, there are. Where, for instance, Austin, which is just on the Chicago side of the Oak Park, City of Chicago border, we're looking at putting cars in Austin. Again, a neighborhood that has had lots of problems over the years, but there's a real upswing going on in Austin. I think that would be a good example of a neighborhood that we're going to be expanding to. All to the west, northwest, Albany Park is a really neat neighborhood. That's the neighborhood just past Lincoln Square. we're actually putting more cars into Albany Park this year. We're actually also looking at neighborhoods as far south and west as Beverly. Not what you think of typically when we think of all these more chic downtown neighborhoods, but Beverly has good transit access, lots of people where they're trying to go down in one car, and we're probably going to work with St. Xavier University out there, put cars on their campus and